English 121, Writing in Open Forms, from the Allen and Bacon Guide, pages 66 to 79. Different types of writing have different criteria for effectiveness, leaving the writer with rhetorical choices rather than an unyielding set of rules for every situation. Your book talks about the difference between closed form, which is rigidly formulaic types of writing, and open form types of writing, which are a little bit more flexible in the conventions that writers will need to follow. Closed form writing is entirely dependent on the quality of its ideas, which must overcome the predictability of its structure to surprise readers with something new and interesting. It aims to challenge the reader's view of the subject through logic, reasons, and evidence, and is common in scholarly and professional writing. It includes an explicit thesis in the introduction that informs readers of the point of the essay, as well as unified and coherent paragraphs and sustained development of the thesis through the paragraphs without digressions. On the other hand, open form writing focuses on a theme more like fiction or narrative writing, in which readers must infer the thesis which is not explicitly stated. It has no clear hierarchical structure and often appears in personal essays, in blogs, in newspaper and magazine feature stories, and professional nonfiction. It includes no reduction to a single summarizable thesis, and the use of story or narrative as an organizing principle. Your book places text along a continuum from closed to open form writing. On the closed end, we start with top-down, thesis-based prose. From there, we move on to more delayed thesis prose and even thesis-seeking prose. And then all the way on the open end of the spectrum, we have theme-based narrative. Similar to the scale from closed to open, you can organize your writing along a scale of abstraction, which varies from abstract to specific. Open form writing, especially, often stays low on the scale of abstraction through the use of concrete words, revelatory words, and memory-soaked details. The distinction here is between abstract and concrete details, where abstract details include vague language that does not relate to things that are tangible or sensory, and concrete language refers to specific language that appeals directly to the senses. This taps into the reader's storehouse of personal memories and images. Your book also talks about what it refers to as revelatory words, which are specific details that reveal the social status, lifestyles, beliefs, and values of people, including what Tom Wolfe referred to as status life, which is the entire pattern of behavior and possessions through which people express their opinion in the world or what they think it is or hope it to be. From there, we move on to the more abstract end of the spectrum, which is more philosophical or theoretic. When writing in the open form style, you want to try to disrupt readers' expectations for direction and clarity. In open form writing, writers offer fewer overviews and clues as to where they're headed. Rather than establishing a direction or point for their prose, they will suspend that direction, waiting until later to show how ideas are meaningfully related. This type of writing allows writers to overlay several ideas at once, moving associatively from one to the next, weaving a complex pattern of meaning in which the complete picture emerges later. There are several strategies for how writers achieve this. Suspending their direction and waiting till later to show how things are related involves overlaying these ideas, moving from one to the next, weaving your complex pattern through the use of things like figurative language, such as similes, comparisons using like or as, metaphors, which are simply a more direct comparison, and personifications, which apply human characters to non-human beings. But always experiment with different styles. Remember that style is a combination of sentence structure, word choice, and rhythm that allows writers to vary their emphasis and tone in purposeful ways. Try to vary your voice and introduce some humor for an element of surprise. Keep these strategies in mind when writing in open forms.